I acquire real estate every day with no time, no money, no effort, no energy. Someone else puts up the money, someone else does the acquisitions, someone else manages the entire process. And it's like printing money. What I do is I build machines that build machines that build machines. I had like 4 different $40 million ideas that I just ran the math on. I'm like, oh, I needed to hear that. Because sometimes we go down a path and then we keep tweaking the path and we're like, I'm optimizing. And then you have that moment you're like, I'm on the wrong path. How many of you have ever had that moment in life where you're like, I went too deep down the wrong hole? Yeah. Have any of you ever had that? Yeah. Actually, that's kind of a segue of what I want to talk about with you today. This conversation is really about what your next level is and the 3 after. I want to answer the question why we don't have more billionaires. We get so deep in the thing that we're doing as if it's driving significance and it's going to make us, and it's like, it's the who we are. But if you've ever shifted from one game to the next, how many of you found that the next game was way better than the first? Yeah. Can I tell you what game is better than the one you're playing right now? It's not the next one. It's the 3 after this one. If you take care of your health, you're gonna live a really long time. And if you're gonna live a really long time, you have to ask yourself, can you ever retire from passion? No. And what happens to people that do? You know the stats. What happens to people that retire? They what? I'm curious with what creates aging. I think aging happens when you're not passionate. I think aging happens when you lose motivation. The moment you give up on yourself, that's when you age. Why is your financial goal what it is? Is it a reflection of playing all out? Or are you playing safe? Are you playing to win or not to lose? And by the way, why think small? $1 billion? Just one? Right? As long as you have life and as long as you have passion, why end? I'm gonna show you what I call the billionaire blueprint. It took me a decade to learn this thing, that when you evaluate a business, if you don't have enough leads, if the product's too hard to sell and fulfillment doesn't scale, you're always gonna feel trapped and you're gonna struggle and you're like, I don't know why, I'm so into my product. And let me give you the shortcut. Yours might look like this. When I do sales calls, that's worth $4,800 an hour. When I conduct a mastermind meeting, that's worth $2,500 an hour. Next, when I conduct one-on-ones, because I'm the operator, I would have to pay a CEO $200 an hour because that's me, I'm the president, I'm significant, I'm the CEO, I'm the everything. When I do that, that's $200 an hour. Next, when I analyze reports, financial things, that's $60 an hour. I could pay a really smart financial person, but I don't, I do that. And then when I'm creating keynotes, that's $22 an hour. When I'm doing payroll audits, it's $18 an hour. When I'm meeting with HR, it's $16 an hour. When I'm running errands, it's $12 an hour. You could, and I think you should, make a list of 12 things, the top 10 things that you do, and become aware of this, because you'll never graduate. You'll never graduate from your business until you create a line of demarcation. Can everyone see the massive disparity between the top 2 things and everything below? The successful owner does all of this to justify working full time. But lovingly, you're stupid. I can't give myself permission to do that. My significance is built on 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week or 100 hours a week. So I'm gonna do the everything here because also it saves me money. It's less employee, it's less payroll. Don't I save money when I say no to these things? Write these 2 rules down. Number 1, always delegate below the line. And yes, initially, for the first 2 months, it's gonna cost you money. Number 2, only say yes to new things that are twice as valuable and delegate the rest. I'm saying no for me, but I'm gonna say yes to someone on my team. Raise your hand if that makes sense. Another thing comes along. It's only $50 an hour. What do you say? I'll no. Thank you. You say it louder. I'll no. Yeah, something else comes along. It's $3,900 an hour. You're like, this is in my top tier. What do you say?
Hell yes.
No.
No, not twice.
Watch the rule. It's not double. You say no and you give it to someone on your team to do because you're always training your protege. In your life today, if you want to become a billionaire, you have to become so much better at saying no than saying yes. Next year, you'll never double your income every year as long as next year you're doing the same things you're doing today. 80% of what you're doing this year, someone else should be doing next year. And if you're not training your protege, then you'll never be a billionaire because you'll be stuck in a really cool game called I'm a successful operator. This is the time money arbitrage game. Now, by the way, something comes along and it's $6,000 an hour. What do you say?
Yes.
No, because it's not double that number.
It's double number 2.
It's not double number 1. This is the rule.
All right.
Now, by the way, every time you say no to the universe, do you realize that in this moment, there are opportunities that are worth $1 million an hour? I know, Pete, you know this. There are things that are out there that are worth $1 an hour. If you don't have standards, then you don't have calibration on when to say yes and no. You don't have calibration, and it means that you value money more than time. When you say yes without standards, what you're saying is money always trumps time. And billionaires have to crack the code on making their time more valuable. Raise your hand if this makes sense. When my time was worth $500 an hour and it went to 1,000, I'm like, there's no way there's work out there for 1,000. When it got to $10,000 an hour, I said, there's no way there's something out there worth 20,000. I have one activity I do in my business that is worth $500,000 an hour. All right. Something comes along, it is 10,000 an hour. You're allowed to say what?
Yes.
Yes. When you gave up all of these things, guess how much time you got back? 80%. You're ultra part-time. If you honor the second rule of only saying yes to things twice as valuable and passing on everything else, your life will be filled with lots of time and lots of money. So making more money is about having standards. Raise your hand if that makes sense. If you want to graduate to an owner, you have to develop systems, accountability, and leadership. This is what most people lack in their company, and in lieu of all this is just you being present at your company for 30 to 50, 60 hours a week. Solution: hire people with specialization better than you. We psychologically recruit down to control people, and control is what will keep you in the cage. You won't let yourself free until you really not only believe there are people better than you, you have to find the people that are 10 times better than you. Go find the best people on the planet, and it starts with the belief that there's someone out there that is so much better than you. There's artistry I don't give up. I spend 3 hours a week in studio to get my 5 to 10 million organic views a week. I don't manage people, ever, right? In your perfect world, how many hours are you working a week? The only number that's better is what? The one thing society says you can't have: balance. And the cool thing is, all of the possibilities to create that are already available without the loss of income. But actually, what if I told you that you could work your hours and double your income? It's a game of consciousness and standards. How many of you, if you knew these numbers, how many of you would know to the dollar what to say yes to and what to say no to? So this map is really key to graduating from an operator to a what? Owner. To an owner. Now, for me, my perfect number is 25 to 30. If I do less than that long term, I feel that my creation energy is dishonored. And if I do more than that, I feel that my creation energy is stressed and overwhelmed. Which is why Monday is my shoot day, Tuesday and Thursday I work from home, Wednesday is my wife's day, Friday is me and my kids' day, Saturday is my day, Sunday is God's day. And that's how I create balance in my world around the number of hours that I want to work. And when I started doing this, I got stressed at first. I'm like, oh no, I'm saying no, and I'm reclaiming my time. I'm going to make less money, right? No. As long as you say yes to the $20 an hour and the $80 an hour and the $100 an hour, the universe is like, I can't give you the $20,000 an hour stuff. I can't. Have you ever wanted a multimillionaire to step in your shoes and give you perspective on what they would do if they were you? Well, guess what? I am pausing my podcast for this brief moment to make sure you have access to my cell phone, because you can text me, Kris, I want a free game plan. Literally just text 385-217-3477. And I got news for you. You can ask me a question about anything. You can ask me a question about life, the meaning and purpose of it. We can talk about finances, business, real estate, marriage. If you got a question, text me. Let's jam. How many of you know what I'm talking about? I'm lazy. I don't have systems. It's just me. I'll manually do the stuff. For me, these are the 5 things I create for companies when I come in. I jump in and I say, hey, let's finish filling out what's missing and augment your business. Number 1, you need an all-in defined culture. that is so powerful based on a just cause vision that if you drop the baton, someone will pick it up. If you die and get hit by a bus, your company doesn't die. SOPs, every system, every process, every position in the company, you need to document your SOPs. You need accountability. Every single day, every employee in all of my companies has a green, their name is green or red. They will self-report out on whether they produced their units yesterday or not. And if they didn't yesterday, then they owe me more today than normal. I can tell in one day if my company is off track or on track. I don't have to wait for a quarterly P&L. I know every day whether we are trending in the right or wrong direction. So there's an accountability model for that. And then there's so many ways to do profit share. You have to bridge the gap between the owner that has it all and the employee that gets nothing. And you would never breathe a word of selling the company because you're like, everyone's gonna become insecure and everyone's gonna leave. What if they got thrilled at exit? You have to bridge the gap of disparity. And by the way, the mental broken game of society right now, our employees just worldwide, they're suffering from anxiety and depression. The mental health crisis is at its worst it's ever been. And part of it is people are throwing their hands in the air. Gen Z, 94% of them want to be entrepreneurs. They're sick and tired of corporate culture. And they're saying, when are you going to actually show me that you care about me? If I were to sit down and show you some of these, I think any one of you within 10 minutes would say, that's the most genius idea on the planet. How did you come up with it? I didn't. I don't birth billion-dollar ideas. I have the time to go find all the people that don't have the resources, the training, the team, the people to cause it all. What I'm telling you is you all have genius, but you don't have to be a genius like a Zuckerberg. Anyone can do what I'm talking about right here. It takes courage, and it takes very, very specific, deliberate moves. This is my map. It doesn't have to be yours, because not everyone wants to be a billionaire. But if you do, stop trying to birth a billion-dollar company. Start birthing 10 companies where one of them might have the asymmetric upside of a billion.